Hello, friends. My name is Amol Apte, and you are with me on the Lex Prudence podcast, Automotive Industry Series. In the last episode, we had a glimpse about the processes that we may need to implement to have a better control over our high volume litigation matters. And in this episode, we will look at all those suggestions in detail. Without any further delay, let's just uh, straight away get into the suggestive list that I spoke about in my last episode. And a quick recap of that list is MIS, panel of lawyers, standard templates, logistic support, review schedules, dashboards, panel review, and tools. Today, we'll discuss all of these in slightly better details. And let's just straight away jump into the list. The first one, as I said, was the MIS. The first step towards getting the litigation portfolio under your control is to have full knowledge of the matters that are pending and also to know the action items that you need to take at your end or need your attention and time. A complete MIS, which covers all your pending matters and critical details about the same, is therefore a first step towards getting litigation portfolio under control. The ideal MIS should at least cover the following information: cause title of the case. Obviously, you need to know which case it is. The second is obviously the case number, because every case will have its own unique number. The date of receipt of summons or notices at your end, brief narration about the matter, details of the advocate who is handling the matter, including his phone numbers, fax numbers, address, etc., the next date of hearing, actionables for the next date, etc. Typically, you would also want to set alerts so that you get reminded of closing the action items before the actual date arrives. Remember, preparation of affidavits, notarization, dispatch, and delivery, all of it takes a lot of time. Every litigation handling in house counsel will know this. And therefore, the alerts should be such that you have adequate time at your hand to take appropriate action with respect to the MISs. And therefore, the first thing that you need to do is to sort out your MIS. The second thing, as I said, was the panel of lawyers. Typically, when an organization has large number of litigations, especially the smaller uh, kind of litigations like say consumer matters or ombudsman matters in insurance industries, there are a lot of consumer and ombudsman matters also there. In automotive industry, consumer matters are high in numbers. You would need to have a panel of lawyers which you can reach out to whenever there is a new matter received at your end. You don't need to struggle, or you don't want to struggle to find a lawyer at a time when you have received a notice which needs your presence before the court in say next 2 days or 3 days time. It becomes very difficult at that point in time to find a lawyer, negotiate the fees, depute the lawyer, send him the wakalatnama, etc., etc. Rather than that, it's always easier to have your panel of lawyers. OEMs typically have a high value of consumer cases, also because the large market, these cases are often spread across the geographies, and you don't want to get those surprises, and therefore it's always better to have your panel of lawyers sorted out. Also, when I say that panel of lawyers needs to be sorted out, you need to have a complete MIS of lawyers with their names, cities, contact details, fax numbers, WhatsApp numbers, juniors details. If they have clerks in their offices, then their clerks' phone numbers, etc., mapped in the MIS that you have with you. Also, with the areas of law in which these guys practice. So today you are using them for consumer matters, but if their office also provides the services for civil or criminal matters, you might as well want to go for the tried and tested lawyers. And therefore, the MIS needs to be complete with all this information. Also, it's better to map the fee structure that is agreed with each of the lawyers so that if you're not there, somebody else is handling the things, the person has a clear visibility. So, detailed MIS of your panel of lawyers will go a long way in helping you and your team in streamlining the entire process. The third thing that you need to sort out is standard templates. Now, even in the last episode, I said that I'm not a very big proponent of using the templates in litigation matters. And I always prefer to draft my replies, affidavits, responses, etc., afresh. But I'm also one of those who have been part of in-house teams which handle large volume of litigations, and therefore know that there are a lot of cases which are repetitive in nature, which are similar in nature, and it may help to have certain standard templates sorted out so that you take lesser turnaround time to complete your written replies, affidavits, etc., etc. Also, there are certain type of matters which are repetitive, like say in insurance, there are three or four types of cases, which is like claims, etc., etc. And you may want to have certain standard uh, way of drafting replies that needs to be followed because you know your internal documents better, and therefore it helps to have standard templates in place which can be used to reduce the time taken by your team members in drafting the replies. Mind you, you have a large volume of litigation, and all these small things go a long way in saving time, and therefore better handling of your litigation matters and timely handling of your litigation matter can be ensured by these. The fourth thing that you need to take care of is your logistic support. Now, handling litigation and as an in-house resource is not always about the skill of drafting or knowing all laws or knowing the exact filing procedures in the court. You of course have to uh, uh, have your lawyers on the ground who will know all of this, but as an in-house lawyer you need to make sure that your logistics are sorted out, and therefore I recommend these following steps to start with. A, identify your on ground teams. It may be your sales team, it may be your service team, who can become your authorized representatives for signing of certain documents, affidavits, etc., etc., in smaller litigation matters like consumer matters. Once you have identified these authorized representatives, make sure that you get appropriate power of attorneys, board resolutions, etc., passed in their name so that they don't go through that hassle every single time when there's a new matter, when they execute the papers. Have a panel of notaries with you that you don't have to struggle to find one notary every single time you want to get affidavits executed. It helps to have your panel of notaries sorted. If you are an organization where you don't have a ground support of sales service staff and you have to send documents from your central office, then keep support staff identified. Have a couple of signatories who can be used as alternatives to each other, and keep courier, notary, etc. sorted. It also helps to keep a ready reckoner of sorts available with you, even if it is created by you in house, to make sure you are creating documents with right formats, right paper type, right fonts, right line spacing, etc. Yes, I'm aware that now quite a lot of courts have started moving towards standard A4 size white paper, and quite a few courts have also started accepting prints on both sides. But there are still a large number of courts which follow their own standard rules, and you need to have a ready reckoner available at your end so that you don't miss out on certain things, and those documents are accepted by the court registries to be filed. The next thing that you need to also do is, and this is very basic, I know, but it proves to be a very efficient way of doing things. If you keep track of stationery requirement at your end, based on, of course, your MIS and the ready reckoner, obviously, but you need to have that in place to keep adequate supplies available at all times, so that when there is an urgent matter coming in, you are not struggling to procure uh, the kind of stationery that is required for your affidavits and replies. A lot of lawyers who handle cases in house know that a lot of courts only accept written statements, affidavits, etc., on green paper, which is a legal size paper, very different from uh, the A4 size white paper, and it also needs different printer sitting. So it makes sense to sort that out. The fifth important point is review schedules. Uh, After the logistics that I spoke about, it's your review schedules that you need to sort out. If you're an in-house lawyer managing a team of lawyers, be it internal or external lawyers working for you, then it helps to have a periodical review of all pending matters and the actions that are required to be taken by you at your end. It always will keep you in control and will reduce the number of surprises for you in litigation portfolio. Therefore, always have a review schedule. It can be weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, yearly, depending on your needs and your uh, uh, portfolio of cases. The sixth thing is dashboards. Well, I spoke about MISs, and if you have to be in total command in your reviews, especially when you are an organization that is very high on litigation, it always helps to have that MIS throwing up certain dashboards to you as a team leader or a manager of the organization. Uh, you need to really get hold of the basics where you actually know which team member is handling how many matters, what are your internal TATs, that is turnaround times, which are those cases which are still in green, that is well within their timelines, which are in amber, which are almost reaching the timeline, that is, and which are in red. I mean, which are those cases which have already breached the timeline and there is an urgent action that needs to be taken. It always helps you if you have that proper dashboard coming to you on a daily basis where you just get a sense of numbers. You may not need to get the entire detail of the cases. You can then interact basis the dashboard. You can then interact with your teams, but it helps to have a good dashboard coming to you on a daily basis if you are handling a large number of litigation. The next important item is a panel review. So first we spoke about internal reviews. The next is panel review, which is not very common in India, but I believe that it can be a good exercise where you actually review your panel of lawyers on an annual basis. Uh, this review can be on the basis of the performance of the lawyers, the kind of matters referred, whose basket is full, whose basket still needs certain matters, the pricing of lawyers, etc., etc. But do that review on an annual basis so that you get a sense on where you stand in terms of quality of your lawyers and the services that they are rendering to you. If you do this review on a regular basis, the lawyers will always be also on their toes, and therefore you'll always are ensured of better services than when you are actually not reviewing their services at all. So panel review is a great idea, and you should, in my opinion, do these kind of reviews at least once a year. It also gives you a great control on your pricing and the litigation expenditure. Last but not the least that I'm uh, uh, listing down in my suggestive list of things is tools. As I said before, also, I'm not reviewing any specific tools here, but just suggesting a few things for which off the shelf software tools can come handy for organizations where litigations are high in number. A, you will need a tool that allows you to create MIS, alert systems, manage your calendars, create dashboards, etc. etc. You have your internal meetings, internal reviews, etc. also, where you need these dashboards, and therefore you need a tool. While earlier we used to do it in Excel sheets also, but now if there are great tools available at great prices, why not use them to create MIS alert system, manage calendars, and create dashboards, etc. B, you will also need a tool that scans the internet and especially the court websites for cause list search to find any matter that you may not be aware of or for which you need to be well prepared of. So do take interest in figuring out a proper tool which does a causeless search for you and throws alerts of cases, basis which you can identify certain cases which you are not even aware of. And the third is if you have a large number of litigations and in-house team do drafting job, then you may need tools that help improve drafts. So grammar, spell checks, dictation tools, etc., etc., can be uh, looked at depending on the volumes and the need of the organization as well as the budgets of the organization. So as I always say, this was not an exhaustive list. but just a suggestive list of things that an in-house lawyer may want to do to create robust processes for managing a high volume litigation. I hope today's discussions were useful for you. Feel free to reach out to me in case you need to discuss something in detail or want to speak on any other relevant legal issues around OEMs, or for that matter, any other legal issues in general. And I'll be happy to discuss it with you. If you like the content that I'm creating for this podcast, do let me know. Do let your friends also know. And you may also write to me to suggest the legal subjects that you want to listen to on this podcast, and I'll try my level best to bring those to you. We'll meet you again with a new topic next Friday. Till then, please take care. Namaskar.